please consider liking the video and subscribing. Let's go. Physical media has been in the news recently, and depending on when you're watching this, let's say 10 years from now, you might not even know what I'm talking about. Physical media is an object that is used to store information or data. The specific type I'm going to be talking about are discs. But if you're watching this in the present, then you know that discs are in danger, and it's a dying species of stored content. So in this video, I wanted to break down the situation and try to answer the question, will physical media die, or is it already dead? Let's begin. These days, it seems that every company and corp has a streaming service or offers bundles, smothering us consumers with basically thousands of hours of content at our fingertips. But in the last 10 years, streaming services have surged. It all started with perhaps the first successful streaming service, Netflix, which had content to stream back all the way in 2007, which at the time was harmless because physical discs were still the big kid on the block. But as time went on, stores like Blockbuster were put out of business. Why? Well, why go to a store to rent a movie when someone can just open their phone, open Netflix, and just click on it and done? Harmless at first, but as years went on, more and more streaming services were created for literally anything and from literally any company. Just looking at this list, I'm like, oh my god, it never ends. While yes, streaming services have changed the game and it's impressive to have a lot of options and shows to binge watch, it's also concerning to see how it can affect the future of media and what we own and what we do not own. When we sign up and pay for a streaming service, we pay for the service, not for any of the movies or any of the shows on the platform, just the access to view them. When Netflix, for example, removes a show or movie and that specific movie isn't anywhere else, what do? Do you try to find it in your own collection? And if you don't own it, do you go to the store and buy it? But what if it's an older movie? So, what happens? Well, here's my personal experience. One of my favorite movies is Surf's Up, a funny film that basically about a penguin who wants to be a pro surfer and a documentary crew that basically follows his journey to achieve that. Anyway, one day I wanted to watch it again and I knew it was on Netflix, so I went on Netflix and searched for it. And you know how Netflix does that thing of, oh, you wanted to watch this movie? Yeah. Yeah, we don't have that. Here, watch Dark Crystal instead. So, Netflix doesn't have it. I'm like, okay, I guess they took it out. Then I'm like, all right, let me check my own copy of the movie, my own collection. Couldn't find it anywhere. I'm like, all right, so it's an older movie. I go to Best Buy and it's not there. I didn't order it online because, I don't want anyone else's older copy. You know, it's all like used. I don't want that. I want my own copy. And well, to this day, I still haven't found it. I know it's out there somewhere, but, you know, Netflix did eventually add it back. I had my laughs, but at what cost? What's my point? Well, my point is this. Some people won't take that extra step to try and search for their specific movie that they want to watch. They'd rather just watch something else, which is fair, but it's pretty crazy how we the viewers have no say on what stays and what leaves on their platforms. Another movie that fell victim to this was Hush, a good movie which I'm glad I saw before Netflix just straight up removed it. It's crazy because this movie is not available anywhere else. Like, there's nowhere to watch this movie without going on illegal websites, of course, but come on, that doesn't count. Someone shouldn't have to go to that extent to watch a movie. Netflix removed the film because they didn't want to renew their license with Mike Flanagan, who has made some good content for them in the past, so that's kind of strange. This brings me to my next subject. Physical ownership versus digital ownership. When you buy something in the store, physically, it's yours. You own that piece of media, a season of a show or a movie, it's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. But when you go online in your console and buy something from them, it's not the same. Sony/PlayStation was under fire because they announced that they were going to be removing over 1,000 films and seasons of TV. But then the people's outrage had some weight, and since then they announced that they worked with Warner Brothers to update their licensing. And now previously purchased content will be available for the next 30 months. Scrolling through this list is crazy. You know, Cake Boss will eventually be gone every single season. Yes, there's some shows I never heard of, but still, someone out there bought it and was happy to own it. And then Sony eventually will take it away. A good point I read on this was this one. On Steam, if an item is removed from the store due to licensing or any other reason, those that own it can still download and play it. Sony are just straight up stealing stuff here. I would at least expect a refund if it was me. End quote. Another thing that adds to this topic is that Best Buy will no longer sell physical discs, like DVDs and Blu-rays, both in store and online, which when I read this, it was like a punch in the gut. Like, wow. I remember going into Best Buy when I was younger and looking at the many different movies and shows and albums. Now, looking at it, it's literally a ghost town. Empty upon empty shelves, with some movies scattered here and there, but still, man. People are getting fed up and upset, but would this be enough? Like with anything, people will have their problems in this specific topic. I think people will voice their concerns, which they have. But like I said, will it be enough? Personally, I don't think so, because there are more who really just don't care, as long as they still have access to viewing whatever they want. There are many pros to streaming. For example, some could say it's cheaper than buying individual shows or movies, which is fair, but buying an entire box collection of a show is more expensive than subscribing to a service, yes, but the reason why it's more expensive is because it's a one-time purchase. It's yours forever. No one's going to knock on your door and demand for it back. A streamer could go under and just shut down and boom, it's gone. Others might even say that streaming is better because it eliminates having a mountain and horde of shows and movies lying around, which is another fair point. Physical media, obviously, takes up physical space, and some people don't like to keep up with the mess. But there is something special about owning your own physical collection, just looking at them, going through them, actually holding them in your hands. It's much better, in my opinion, than scrolling through digital copies of them on your phone or TV. Perhaps one of the biggest questions I ask is, will stores like Blockbuster ever make a comeback? Personally, I don't think so. I think that idea would have to be somewhat modernized. A store that I think that can improve a little bit is Disc Replay. If you don't know what Disc Replay is, it's a brand that prides itself on buying and selling any sort of media from video games, movies, shows, collectibles, and resells them for a decent price. I've been to Disc Replays a lot of times in my life, and sometimes you will find some good stuff in there. But, like I said, if they were to somehow get better, like days of the old, like 8 years ago Disc Replay, and modernize that idea, then maybe they can tap into the dying physical media market. Now, I don't know if I could say it, so I won't, but the sickness that took over the world a couple years ago helped streaming services a lot. More people were stuck at home playing Animal Crossing and binge watching shows and movies. It was a crazy time. The demand was high for everything entertainment, but that time period not only dramatically increased the growth of streaming, but it also took a huge part of life out of movie theaters. Quickly, I wanted to talk about another fascinating topic, is that if movie theaters will be around in the future, I think that as long as movie studios keep pumping out peak, then yes, I do believe they will stick around in the long run. Going to the movies is fun, and it's its own experience. The big screen with high quality sound is amazing. When I went to watch Spider-Verse, the experience was like nothing else. The environment is special. People's gasps and awes and what was going on fed into those moments. I would be hurt if in, let's say, 20, 30 years from now, movie theaters are gone. I hope that if you're watching this in the year 2045, please comment down below and tell me that theaters are still a thing. Thank you. Streaming at this point has the potential to be the Grim Reaper for any other type of media. Like I said with theatrical releases, one of the more recent ones was Glass Onion, a sequel to the great Knives Out. This movie was only in theaters for a week before Netflix pulled it so it could be on their platform only, which is crazy because if it would have stayed longer at the movies, I would have actually gone to go watch it. Still a good film, but anyway. The overlooming question, is physical media dead? Is it gonna die? Is it already dead? Sadly, I think so. I don't think that disc will ever not exist. I think that it will still be more accessible than VHS. Stores will slowly begin to pull disc into albums. Stores like Disc Replay and half-price books will still sell them. But if they don't modernize, then those stores will also cease to exist. Please, down below, let me know. What do you guys think? Will physical media die out entirely, or will people still fight and manage to somehow keep it alive? I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. Please consider liking and subscribing, and also thank you for the huge support I've been receiving lately. It has been incredible. We're starting off the year right, so thank you very much. Anyway, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.